Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a condition known as rebound congestion. There is a more appropriate medical term for it known as Rhinitis Medicamentosa. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm not from medical background, so whatever video you're watching right now, this is not a substitute to any medical advice. It's just a patient talk. I just want to talk to you about my own experience and hope it will help you cope up with such a situation. So the condition that I'm going to talk about is known as rebound congestion, and it is fairly common. Unfortunately, not much is available on to help the fellow sufferers like me. So I struggle. I found some help in YouTube, and I thought, let me contribute my own part to this body of knowledge, if I can say that. I'm 37. I live in India, and this video I'm doing it for across the world, not just for India. So I will avoid using any brand names. I'll rather stick to generic names. But I'm going to talk something about common cold. It affects everyone at some point of their time, or probably everyone gets affected by it once a year. Now, whenever you're suffering from common cold, or in some cases, if you're suffering from sinusitis problem, your nasal passages will be blocked, and it is quite uncomfortable. Now, if this condition of nasal passages being blocked persists for a long time, you feel fairly uncomfortable, and that's what happened to me around 13 years back. I had a common cold, and it was quite uncommon, to be honest, and I already had the sinusitis problem, and it was fairly uncomfortable for me, and I was not able to breathe properly, and this is where it becomes quite tricky. If your breathing is getting affected, sometimes you develop this panic attack. Now, what is panic attack? Well, that's a different story altogether, but to cut it short, it's almost like you are choking to death. It's almost like a feeling of hopelessness, and that's what happened to me because my nose was blocked for a long time, around 13 years back, and I tried desperate attempt to open up the nose by blowing it, but nothing really happened. I tried to inhale the steam, but because it was a common cold, I was not getting the relief that was sustainable for a long time. So eventually I spoke to some of my friends. Someone said, hey, why don't you try some over-the-counter drug known as OTC drug, and these are known as nasal decongestants. Now, the name may vary across the world. I probably know the name that is used in India. I will avoid using the brand name here. So, but the chemical composition may be methoxyline or xylometazoline hydrochloride. So just remember this, methoxyline or xylometazoline. These are fairly available in India. Just check out in your respective country. Brand name may differ. Even chemical name may differ here and there. And you feel free to talk to your doctor whenever you're in doubt, doctor or a pharmacist. Now, I started taking this xylometazoline hydrochloride nasal decongestant. It's like a spray. You put it in your nose and it provides an instant relief. And you feel happy, right? And the world seems normal again. World seems wonderful because you're breathing normally, your panic attacks are gone, and you can go on with your daily routine of life. Now, this is where I went wrong, and I don't want others to go wrong. So if you are suffering from common cold, and invariably if you started taking this nasal decongestant, remember the name, the chemical composition, methoxyline or xylometazoline. Wonderful drugs, they act instantly, gives you immediate relief. But please do not take this nasal decongestants for more than 5 days at a stretch. If you have gone to any doctor, any good doctor I mean, they will never suggest you to take it more than 5 days. And after 5 days, I think any common cold will subside. And if it's not subsiding, then probably you have something else. Please consult with your doctor. Now, what if you have already taken it for more than 5 days? Well, this is where this video comes handy. If you take this nasal decongestant, remember the chemical composition, methoxyline hydrochloride or xylomethoxyline hydrochloride, there can be more chemical composition which I am not aware of. Feel free to add them in the comment section below. Now what to do if you have taken it more than 5 days? The problem is that these are OTC drugs, over-the-counter drugs, freely available without prescription. almost across the world, right? And nowadays, even these pharma companies have started advertising about these over-the-counter nasal decongestants on television and on social media, like get instant relief from blocked nose in 25 seconds, in 45 seconds. Now that's where the problem starts, because people start taking this, and a huge proportion of these people get at, attached to these drugs. I'll not say addicted. Addicted has a different connotations altogether. I will say, let's say they become dependent on this drug. Why does dependency happen? Because after 5 days, if you continue taking this nasal decongestant for more than 5 days, your body becomes dependent on this. The more you give, the more the body desires. Now, what exactly happens when you take this nasal decongestant is that how it opens up the nasal passages. It actually shrinks your blood vessel inside your nose, and when the blood vessel shrinks, okay, there is a pathway available for your mucus to come out, and that's how you feel relieved. Now the problem is that if you keep doing it for more than 5 days, 7 days, the body is getting addicted to it. Sorry to use the term addicted, maybe dependent is the right term. So body gets dependent on this, and the blood vessels, when it shrinks, after the effects dies down of this nasal decongestant, it again expands back. Now that is where the problem starts. You feel little choky, a little panicky. You need that, and that's what started happening to me. I started putting more and more of these nasal decongestants into my nose. I will carry them in my pocket, one in my shirt pocket, one will be in my laptop bag. It will be in every nook and corner of my house, in my bed. So it was crazy. And it's not that people didn't tell me what are the side effects. Now, what are the side effects? The side effects, if you probably don't know, is that if you are taking more and more of these nasal decongestants, it may lead to a condition known as Rhinitis Medicamentosa. In short, it's nothing but rebound congestion. It means you are taking more and more of this nasal decongestants. So what really happens is that there is a swelling inside your nostrils, inside your nasal passages. Yes, somewhere down the line you also lose or reduce. You have a reduced sense of your smell. It's not that people didn't tell me about it. Yes, I was aware of it, but who cares, right? When this drug is working wonderful for me, and it worked wonderful for me for 13 years. Around 2 months back, that's when, all hell broke loose. What really happened is that initially what started as twice a day, it gradually increased to 6 times a day. But I was still happy. I was still doing okay. But 2 months back, I was just recovering from an episode of dengue. I had come home, and it was fairly chilly out here. Well, I stay in southern part of India. We don't face extreme winter, but since I'm attuned to low 20s and early 30s kind of range of temperature in Celsius, so if it goes towards 15 degrees Celsius, it's a big issue for me. Yeah, I know some of you might be laughing, but yeah, that's what I'm accustomed to. So I had a cold, and I started putting this the nasal decongestant. But to my horror, the effect, which earlier used to last for 3-4 hours, was just stopping after 1 hour. So that means I'm not able to sleep effectively, because every 1 hour I will just get up from my bed grasping for my breath. It was a scary experience. Now another side effect of nasal decongestant is that more you put, okay, your blood vessel also, your blood pressure also goes up. Why? Because remember, how the nasal decongestant work is that they shrink the blood vessel inside. So when your blood vessel shrinks, okay, the blood flow increases. So that's all leads to high pressure in your blood vessel, and it temporarily increases your blood pressure. Now I already am hypertensive. I have high blood pressure. So because I was putting more and more of this nasal decongestant in my nose, my blood pressure was also going high. It was quite a difficult situation for me. I went to a doctor, and the doctor said that I have this condition of Rhinitis Medicamentosa. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. Yes, I told them all my history, that I have been using it for 13 years, and they said just come out of it. And the doctor recommended me a tablet form of steroid, of corticosteroid. What was recommended to me was 8 mg of methylprednisolone. I was a little hesitant to start steroids, because steroids means that it's something body can get addicted very easily. So I went for a second opinion. This time the doctor said, it's in a very critical situation, you have to stop using it. And he prescribed me an 80 mg of methylprednisolone injection, which I took. But the effect didn't start immediately. It took me 5 days for the effect to kick in. But for the initial 5 days, I had stopped taking this nasal decongestant. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult. The body will act crazy. Remember, you are dependent on it. In fact, why call dependent? We are addicted. It's not that we become addicted by choice, because we didn't know it. And that's why, I'm sharing my story with you. You become dependent on this nasal decongestant. And this initial 5 days was really difficult. Now, how did I survive this initial 5 days? Is that stay in a hydrated condition, drink a lot of water, keep yourself hydrated. And one thing that really worked wonder for me is a nasal rinse. So I started to put water in one of the nostrils, and the water will come out of the other. This is known as nasal rinse. Those in India or those who practice Ayurveda will probably know that it's nothing but jalneti. You can Google it up in the YouTube. You'll find it, lots of it. Now, unfortunately for me, I tried with the traditional jalneti, where you have a pot and you put the water, you tilt your head by 45 degrees, the water comes out of other nostril. Now, my nose was so blocked that the water simply didn't go inside. So that's why I again went back to my ENT doctor, and she recommended me a modified form of neti pot, which is like a squeezable plastic bottle. Okay, there is a straw. There is a straw inside the bottle. You mix warm water and a pre-mixed solution of sodium chloride, and there's one more component of it, sodium chloride and I think baking soda, if I'm not mistaken. You get this pre-mixed. Okay, I prefer it pre-mixed, because if you buy salt, the common salt has at least in India, the common salt that we consume mostly comes with iodine in it. Now, iodine may irritate your nasal passages, so I prefer you go and get this pre-mixed sachets that comes in. I squeezed it inside, it goes with pressure, comes out. It worked for me. So that really helped. Okay, and that really helped. Initial 5 days, just hang on there, buddy. It's like, really, really tense out there. You will feel breathless. Okay, try to talk to your friends. Just stay away from that mental frame. Night time will be more difficult. Try to inhale steam. After 5 days, gradually, even if you don't take any steroid injection, that's fine. Okay, initial 5 days is when it's actually the body will try to tempt you back to start taking this nasal decongestant. Try taking warm hot water bath. The steam really helps. Okay, you can take steam inhalation also, that also helps. Nasal rinse I just spoke about, that really helped me. So these 3 things really helped me. And last thing which I tried and it really worked for me is I installed a humidifier in my home. I just bought it online from Amazon, and it's available across the world, and it actually increases the humidity in your room wherever you stay, right? So all this thing, after 5 days, luckily for me, the effect of the methylprednisolone 80 mg kicked in, and it stayed. The effect stayed. It's still with me. So it's like 20 days that I have taken this injection. My nose is fairly open. I have just taken a hot water bath. Earlier I used to take a cold water bath. So far it's a battle that I'm still fighting. Have I taken this nasal decongestant? No. I am proud to say it is almost like 20 days I have not taken, and I don't feel like taking it, though I still have those tiny little devils with me. It's lying in my desk, but I don't take it. I don't need it, right? And I think not many people speak about it. It's important that we keep sharing our story, People talk about more difficult diseases, but believe me, Rhinitis Medicamentosa is not joke. I also went to a surgeon, ENT surgeon. They asked me to do a laser surgery. Well, I'm scared of surgery, right? I'll rather try with some, medicines. If it doesn't work out, surgery is a last resort. But hey, I'm not a doctor, and I am not here recommending any medicine. I'm just sharing my story. Every person is different. Every person has a different issue. Feel free to discuss your issues with your doctor. And last but not the least, don't lose hope, right? And all of us are fighter, and we can actually come out of it. It's just the first 5 days, 5 to 10 days, that you really have to come out of it. So the method that I used is known as cold turkey, where you just simply stop it. Not easy. I got a lot of help from my friends. Most of them are doctors that helped me out, and a lot of them supported with a pep talk here and there. In the end, what I like to say is that apart from going cold turkey, where you suddenly give up the medicine, other approach is that you reduce the doses. If you can take some corticosteroid, discuss with a doctor. Don't start anything of your own. Self-medication is a dangerous thing. I learned it my own way, right? So 13 years of suffering, and now still continuing to come out of it. Hopefully it can be a good story for you all to change and come out of it. Thanks. It's Anurag here. God bless you all.